I'm Jeff Hunt. He's Bill Thorpe. It's Monday.
Identify with Garfield.
You need some lasagna.
Yeah, it's just a nap, one or the other. Yeah, happy Monday.
6 a.m., Mile High City, and you've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. We are Denver's left, right, center debate show where you're invited to be a part of the conversation. Ain't no monologues here. Ain't no just responding to voicemails here. You get to come live on the radio show and tell me how dumb I am. 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Caplis Law Text line at 720-819-5115. Shout out to a few folks I saw over the weekend.
Yeah, you did a little
Wayne
speaking gig.
and Susanna from the Gun Room.
Oh, that's
Had a
awesome.
chance to see them on Saturday night at the Golden Summit in Golden, Colorado. Absolutely fantastic job. We had Lindsay Malaconi on, who was organizing the event, and turned out jam-packed, sold-out event.
Yeah.
Huge numbers and people and exciting and energy and room packed. And also saw Francis.
Oh, that's so
Showed
cool.
up. Yeah, Francis, regular caller on the show, came
He's
by.
one of our
and
favorites. He's great.
was hanging out, and Jarvis Caldwell, Heidi Ganol, my wife was there as well, and Francis and Jarvis hanging out.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it was
that is
fun.
really cool.
So-
Nice, yeah.
We
What I
had political leaders and callers all together. over
That's
the weekend,
fantastic.
which was cool.
That is
That's
wonderful.
what you want.
What a
So,
fun
did
Friday.
you have a good
What
weekend,
Sunday.
sir?
Yeah, as we were talking a little off air, my brother and sister-in-law in town, so that was really neat. They take off today, but that was nice. My brother was in charge of, as in like the general manager, CEO kind of person, in charge of the Seattle Christmas market. And that was crazy. And so he couldn't come back over Christmas. So this was basically then coming in and us celebrating Christmas with them. We did dinner. They came over and spent most of the day with us and the kids yesterday. But I just want to, just for a moment here, it was really interesting talking to him about running the Christmas market. 'Cause
Yeah.
he came in 2 days before it was opened. They fired the general manager 2 days before it launched. And so,
What?
Yeah. So that's what he walks into. He said, the most wonderful thing is, he goes, yeah, there are a lot of stuff that was wrong, a lot of stuff he would have done different. He said, but the best thing is, he goes, I just showed up here. He goes, it's not my fault. I mean, you guys can be all mad you want. He goes, I didn't plan any of this. So it was kind of interesting. It was really interesting, some of his experiences managing some of the younger workers and how they are so feelings forward all the time. That was some interesting conversations about it as far as certain things that people just, as far as communications and younger kids not understanding some of the communications involved, one of which involved an incident that happened at the market. And then the person from HR leads with an email that says, our person might have been responsible. I need all of the information. And then he's like, you don't lead the email with that. Like, if there's any possible exposure, you don't put into an internal communication that we might have the exposure.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
especially-
There's a thing called
Yeah.
a Cora or a
Exactly. Yeah. It's like, especially if you're in HR, you don't lead with that.
deposition, right?
Yeah. So it was interesting. Just, he said the little things that they didn't know was very, very shocking. But yeah, it was really good to see them. Yeah. What else did you guys do?
I'm
Yeah.
intrigued on the security apparatus that he had to pull together
Yeah.
on that, because you see some of these attacks, particularly in Europe in Christmas markets.
Yeah.
Did he talk at all about that?
Yeah,
or-
we did a little bit, but he wasn't worried. They had that thing fairly locked down.
Yeah,
There were other
yeah.
things that were, much more vendors coming in and out. They did have an evening where some people were getting in there with petitions, and because it is a private event, it is on public land, but they have they pulled the permit for it, so it's a private
Right.
event. So there was some disagreement about how close or how far away they could be, because they started out coming into the event and then trying to gather signatures. And they're like, you can't do that here. You can't. That's not, you got to ask permission. There are a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right.
And so then where they were supposed to be outside was a little bit more, because that's about as close as they got for security. He did say this was really interesting, is that, and he's had this experience before because Seattle's a heavy union town, but he said it was real shocking at sometimes where the union members will show up and do the work, and when the union members and who they schedule won't show up and do the work. and he said the funny part was it was the loadout That's where he goes, up to, setting up. The setup seemed to be pretty good during the days, everything else. Loadout. He said their scheduling for loadout was atrocious. He said maybe a third of the people scheduled for loadout ever showed up from the union. Yeah, he said it was absolutely awful. But again, he said the people that showed up were the young new kids. So he said he wasn't getting the long-term union guys that had been there for a long time. So he had a feeling that he was getting all the newbies. That they, if they didn't show up, if they didn't do the work, they were going to wash out. He kind of figured that he was getting to be kind of that test. That are they going to show up? Are they going to do the work? He said he had one dude that was scheduled for an entire week to help with loadout, clean up afterwards. He showed up the first day for the first 3 hours and never saw him again.
I've worked with union at the convention center and had similar experiences.
Yeah, something where there's certain things they're really in tune with, and other things like I don't wanna. Yeah,
really in tune, getting their money. All right, we've got a lot to talk today. Millions in gas mix-up. Denver Gazette diesel mix-up at several Colorado gas stations could cost millions, experts say. We'll dive into that. The sonic weapon that was detailed in its use down at the Venezuela Maduro raid was crazy. That kind of popped up over the weekend. We'll get into that. The Minnesota shooting update. We'll give you the latest. Is it a problem with diluted wine moms? There's an op-ed in Fox about that. We'll talk to Michael Allen, a candidate for Attorney General, in the 8 o'clock hour, and then Trump housing order that came down. How is this going to affect you? So, lots to cover. Now, though, it's time for the news.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, news and comment.
Hey, good morning. It is Monday, 27 in Denver as you kick it off with Jeff and Billy. Expecting a high of 56 today, 56 degrees. I love it. Oh my goodness, so much sunshine, and we're in January. News sponsored by Pastor Camp Heating and Air Conditioning at 303-777-1234 to learn more about special savings opportunities on Lennox equipment. Our top story, Denver Public Schools blocking the use of AI tool ChatGPT for students effective today. The district expressed growing concerns about new features coming to the platform in 2026, including a feature that allows up to 20 people to chat in a group, increasing the chances for academic misconduct and cyberbullying. One person was killed and 3 others wounded in a shooting at a home near Strasburg early Sunday. Adams County deputies found a man with gunshot wounds who was later pronounced dead. They found 3 additional people with gunshot wounds who were taken to local hospitals, and their conditions were not released. No suspect information is available, and the investigation remains active. A federal judge is blocking the Trump administration from freezing around $10 billion in child care and social services funding.
The temporary order issued directs the administration to release the funds to 5 Democrat-led states. This after those states filed a lawsuit against the administration over the funding freeze. The order instructs the administration to disperse the funds for 2 weeks while the legal challenge continues. The states in question include Minnesota, California, New York, Illinois, and Colorado. I'm Jim Roop.
Iran says that any U.S. attack would lead to Tehran striking Israel and U.S. military and shipping assets in the Middle East. Israel and Washington have reportedly discussed the possibility of U.S. intervention to support the ongoing protests in Iran.
They do. They called yesterday. Iran called to negotiate. Yesterday, the leaders of Iran called. They want to negotiate. I think they're tired of being beat up by the United States. Iran wants to negotiate, yes. We may meet with them. I mean, a meeting is being set up. But we may have to act because of what's happening before the meeting. But a meeting is being set up. Iran called. They want to negotiate.
The current unrest began in late December when the Iranian currency plummeted to an all-time low against the U.S. dollar. Hundreds have reportedly been killed since then. Nobel Peace Prize organizers say Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado cannot share her award. Machado has expressed a desire to give her award to DJT after he won the prize in October. The Norwegian Nobel Committee and Norwegian Nobel Institute have warned the award cannot be revoked, shared, or transferred to others. Let's see here. Broncos will play host to the Bills this Saturday at Mile High in the second round of the playoffs after the Bills came back to beat Jacksonville on Sunday. Bills head coach Sean McDermott in the locker room and quarterback Josh Allen after the win.
Super proud of you guys, man. We knew what was in front of us coming down here. Good football team. 60 minutes. That's what it's going to take. It's going to take it again next week. All right.
We stay here. We don't fucking blink, all right? We get one more. That's right. That's the reward for doing what we did today. We get one more. Now we got to go earn it again. All right? Love y'all, boys. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so the Bills ready to take on Denver coming up this Saturday.
A rematch.
In a rematch.
Yeah, from the 24. Yeah, last time.
This is going to be a difficult. This is going to be challenging for the Broncos to beat the Bills, but they have
though,
home
I'm glad
field
we're not
advantage.
facing the Jags. I'm glad it's not the Jags. I'm
yeah,
glad.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And I'm not certain I would want to face the Chargers either, because division opponents are always weird. It's always strange.
True.
The normal rules, I feel, go out the window when you face a division opponent. So the Chargers, which would have been the other option of the Bills, worry me a little bit as well. I do think that Denver's defense is set up particularly well to go against Josh Allen.
I agree.
I'm worried about whether or not our offense can, like they have all season, do just enough to get us the win. That's what I think it's going to be. It's going to be another one of those 3-point, 6-point wins. It's going to be close. I wouldn't be surprised if we were down going into the fourth quarter, and who knows what the outcome is going to be. But, yeah, I think that we're poised well to be able to hang on to a lot of the stuff that the Bills do well, that we can hang with them. But yeah, this to me is really a matchup between our offense and can we exploit anything their defense gets wrong.
Yeah. I think Jeff's going to love it. There are going to be plenty of field goals.
Bring out the little guy.
Yeah, bring out the little guy.
Funny.
It's going to be, let's see, 3 times, let's go, 3 times 5, that'd be 15. 3 times 4, okay, 15 to 12, the final. You can see that happening.
Yeah, you could actually. Yeah, you could.
Yeah. No, but I think the Broncos are in good shape with the defense. But I agree, it could be low scoring. But that's going to be a tough out, no doubt. Patriots beat the Chargers. Oh, they looked horrible.
Yeah,
Chargers
they did.
looked. Oh my goodness, I almost felt sorry for all of them.
Yeah, they did look bad, and Patriots didn't look that great either, though, which was kind of
No,
nice.
they didn't.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Let's see. They'll take on the Texans or the Steelers, who play tonight. And I think the Steelers, they've won like 30 straight Monday Night Football games. So this is a playoff game. But the Steelers, man, if they get by the Texans, that may be one of the worst teams out there, too. I mean, Aaron Rodgers has done it. Unless it's like a 2-minute drill, then you got Aaron Rodgers doing what he does best. So we'll see what happens with that tonight. NFC, Christian McCaffrey was outstanding in the Niners and the Eagles season Sunday. They face the Seahawks, and the Bears and the Rams win. And they meet
Niners
this
game,
weekend.
That was, great for, Christian McCaffrey really became, he was not just the bell cow, but he was more important to the offense after Kittle went down with that knee injury.
Absolutely.
That was crazy. And all of a sudden you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And even though you saw the Eagles at times king on McCaffrey, he is He's played long enough, and he is healthy enough where it
Yeah,
just didn't matter at
that's
times.
right.
And that was the neat thing is he's healthy enough to really make take it full advantage of what his toolkit is. It was kind of neat to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, as a local kid.
No, I mean, he's not only just a phenomenal running back. I mean, he's just such a great athlete and a great receiver out of the backfield. I mean, he's just so dangerous. And
So
he just
smart.
he plays so hard. Just doesn't stop.
That, and it's a stupid little bromide that you hear from a lot of coaches, but it really holds true. It's the idea of doing the little things. And,
Absolutely.
And that means, okay, you can run most of the way through your route and then slow down for the last couple of steps so that you make the turn easier, or you can run full speed, make that cut hard, and then make the turn, and McCaffrey is always full speed.
Yep.
He's always making the cuts
Absolutely.
hard. He's always running through. Even when it's not necessarily his route, he still goes and sells it. So, yeah.
Yes.
Again, it's doing the little things, and that's what he does.
He does not
Yeah.
cheat the game.
No, he doesn't.
And that's what, those little things, that's what makes an offense, function.
Yes.
And it drives coaches nuts when you have a world-class athlete out there, someone who has all the ability in the world and who could really hold a defense, for example, and just keep them honest, right? And then they just cheat it.
Yeah.
And just everything falls. I mean, little things that you never see when you're watching the game. And he does not do that.
No, he doesn't. Yeah.
Because he's a threat when he has the ball. He's a threat when he doesn't have the ball.
Yeah, exactly. Because he knows they have to pay attention to him. And if he doesn't go out there and
Absolutely.
sell that he's an actual threat to get the ball at any point in time,
Absolutely.
it doesn't work. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
Bucks at the Nuggets last night. The Nuggets win 108-104. Tim Hardaway Jr., 25. Avs play host to the Maple Leafs tonight in Lodo at 8 o'clock. They'll drop the puck. 25 in Centennial, 24 in Arvada, 26 in Denver. You're waking up with Jeff and Bill on a Monday. Blake Olson, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Your 710 KNUS forecast this early Monday. Mostly clear with temperatures in the upper 20s by daybreak. For the rest of your Monday, plenty of sunshine this afternoon, highs in the mid to upper 50s. A few clouds tonight, lows down to 35. Partly sunny on Tuesday, highs in the mid 50s. Weather brought to you by L&L Heating and Air Conditioning. For quick, trustworthy, and dependable service, call L&L Heating and Air Conditioning at 720-851-1691. Visit them online at bestdenverhvac.com. That's bestdenverhvac.com. You'll be comfortable with L&L. I'm day weather meteorologist Patrice Sutter in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
So that gas mix-up we covered last week could cost millions, experts say. This is from the Denver Gazette. A mix-up of regular and diesel fuel at several gas stations throughout Colorado could result in millions of dollars in damages. Tim Jackson, former president and CEO of the Colorado Automobile Dealers Association, said that those who accidentally, through no fault of their own, filled up their vehicle with contaminated fuel could see it seriously damage their engines or even make the car not able to start entirely. A gasoline engine just isn't designed to handle diesel fuel. That's why if it's going to either knock or completely shut off, it's going to, shut off, it's got too much of this fuel in it, Jackson said. Damage to the engine where it would have to get overhauled or replaced, that's where it gets really expensive. Officials from Colorado's Division of Oil and Public Safety announced Friday morning that they're investigating complaints that multiple gas stations across the state received diesel in regular shipments. Do you see the pictures, Bill, of them out there having to empty all those tanks out?
Yes. Just,
what
it's
a
mess.
nightmare.
Oh, yeah. Extra time, extra effort, extra money. Yeah, it's a mess.
So far, 200 complaints at about 6 gas stations across Colorado have been filed. The agency is investigating gas primarily at 3 retail outlets, King Soopers, Costco, and Murphy Express, but millions of dollars.
Yeah, because it'll be, a couple of thousand every time everyone's going to drain the tank. That's not cheap,
right.
and anything else that goes in. Question I've got is, are the places like Costco and King Soopers going to be on the hook for possible insurance claims? Like if I went to a Costco or a King Soopers and filled up and then I had to drain my tank later, or heaven forbid something else goes wrong inside the engine because of it, are they on the hook? Is it how much of that? And, and how much difficult would that be to get reimbursed? Because, some of us may not have a couple extra grand sitting around right after Christmas in order to take care of this. That may put too much of a squeeze on the family budget. So that I'm kind of curious about. And it was interesting for me over the weekend. I saw a lot of things circulating on social media that didn't have all of the information. And
no,
I know. Imagine. And the thing that I kept coming back to, and I didn't post this all the time, but I did a couple of times. I went and I got the link for our first hour on Friday. And I'm like, if you were listening to the show, you would have had all this information.
Yeah, well,
and you
we
would
had the mechanic call in.
Yeah, and I would say, and you would know that X, Y, and Z. The thing that was surprising me most of the time is that most people that I saw sharing information about it didn't understand that there was a window of time in which this gas was available for purchase. And after that, it wasn't. I saw a lot of people.
Wednesday night to Thursday morning.
Yep. And I saw a lot of people like, if you filled up last week at Costco or King Soopers, your gas could be tainted. No. It's just between Wednesday night and Thursday morning. You got to make sure that if any of your car, no, stop, slow down. It's not that. Yeah.
Did you see though that states officials are unlikely to pursue monetary penalties?
Yeah, I saw that.
That you know what this reminds me of?
What?
Because I lived through it when the nitwit in Hawaii hit the button in a text message to everybody that we were going to have an incoming ballistic missile.
Now, you have a really interesting story about this, and not everybody has been with the Jeff and Bill show for long enough to hear this story. So remind the audience.
Like we were there for our anniversary.
Yeah,
and
you and Mrs. Jeff are there for an anniversary, and then a text message comes across. Okay, listeners, Jeff and Bill show. I'm going to set the stage here. So Mrs. Jeff and Jeff, they're celebrating their anniversary. This is a wonderful romantic getaway. And again, kid free.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's huge here. But they're
became a problem.
Yeah, but then they're leaving them here. And you know how that is when something goes sideways and you are separated from those kids by even not just hundreds of miles, but thousands of miles. Things can get a little awkward and difficult. So you're going on the anniversary trip. You guys are celebrating wonderful years of marriage in Hawaii. And then what happens?
Well, we're driving to Surfing Goat Dairy, and we get a text message that comes across, like your phone buzzes, like when it gets the Amber Alert.
Yeah.
And it says, incoming ballistic missile, seek shelter immediately. This is not a test.
Yeah.
And you go,
You're
what?
Like, wait, what?
And so we turn on the radio, and the radio's doing that, the
emergency
incoming
alert system,
ballistic missile, seek shelter immediately. So we pull in the first exit we can, which is to the Maui gift shop, Aquarium gift shop, and there's like 30 people in there. Everyone's running in from the parking lot. It's like a scene out of a zombie movie.
Yeah,
everybody's running in, and people are calling their kids to say, "Hey, honey, this is where the will is," and by the way, we love you, and Nicole, my wife's doing the same thing with our kids. She's calling them to go, but you're not trying to panic them. You're just
you're not.
I really want to. Anyways, we lived through that hell, and the dude never got fired.
No,
dude never got fired for it. You're like, seriously? Like there were stories of families lifting the manhole covers and putting their kids down into the sewers.
Yeah, exactly.
And the dude never got fired. I'm sitting there going, you have over 200 complaints on this gas issue, and possibly millions of dollars of damages, and there's not going to be any fines levied?
Yeah, no fines levied.
That's the point of the fine.
Yeah, that is the point of the fine, because you go back and you say, no, this happened last time. Make sure you double check it. And that is the point of the fine, because when I was starting out my career, young Billy, in early radio, The FCC used to show up at the stations and run you through your paces. And I still remember the weekend where we're working and they show up at one of the other stations in town. You had a gentleman's agreement that if the FCC shows up, as soon as they leave, you call everybody else in town. You had everybody else's hotlines. So you called everybody else and said, they're here, get your stuff in order. Well, the person where they visited first, they came in and said, yeah, I need you to run an EAS test. And the guy said, EAS, that blankety blankety blank hasn't worked in years. Well, that's not a little fine. That is an enormous fine. And so what was the message at that radio station and all the other radio stations in town for the next decade? When they show up, you don't tell them you can't do it. You don't tell them it's broken because this is what happened. The fine was the lesson. That was used as a teaching moment, and that's exactly what this should be, a teaching moment.
Dude, if nobody loses their job over this and there's no fines, I'm just...
Oh, yeah, what do we do? Yeah.
Just crazy to me. All right. Feel free to join the conversation. Phone line 303-696-1971. Text us on the Dan Capitalist Law text line 720-819-5115. Folks, got a chance to hang out with Wayne and Susanna, who own the gun room in Lakewood over the weekend. Absolutely wonderful people. God-fearing, America-loving, gun room owning Wayne and Susanna. And if you've listened to me for any amount of time, you know I care deeply about freedom, responsibility, and supporting local businesses that have stood the test of time. That's why I want to tell you about the Gun Room. The Gun Room has been Denver's oldest firearms dealer since 1982. When you walk in, you really feel it. Real wood, real craftsmanship, a shop that actually looks like a gun store. Less plastic, more tradition. They buy, sell, and consign any and all firearms from antique and vintage to hunting and tactical. And they do something the big box stores never will. They work closely with families who've lost a loved one and need help handling a gun collection with care and respect. Inventory changes daily with over 1,000 firearms in stock. So if you're thinking about buying, especially with new restrictive laws coming, you should act right now. Support local, support family-owned, support freedom, support Wayne and Susanna. Visit denvergunroom.com or call 303-237-1300. 303-237-1300, denvergunroom.com. That's the Gun Room, a Colorado original. We'll continue with your phone calls and texts. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS. We're getting new Bruno Mars. He's dropping a new album. Late February. New song came
Has it
out
been
last
a while
week.
since he had an
Yeah,
album?
4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
If not, I think 2017 is the 24 Karat Magic Tour, is that era. So it's been 2016, 2017. He's going to be doing a tour as well. New single is out there. We'll see if we can get it into rotation. It's really good. It's really good. There's a little bit of 70s, but a little bit of 2010 kind of funk rock in there. And Bruno knows what he's doing. So this could be really cool. But yeah, he's got a brand new one out there that's really, really good. And he's hitting the road in case, you're a fan.
That's what you get with the Bill Thorpe Show, the Jeff and Bill Show. You get Bill Thorpe also giving you good detailed music analysis.
Yeah. Oh, and all the new stuff that's coming out.
I love it. All right. We are talking diesel mix-up at several Colorado gas stations may cost millions. Experts are saying. Let's go to the phone lines. Always good to hear. Dwayne from Divide. Good morning, Dwayne.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. Ice Station Zebra status. We are at 9 below right now.
No way.
Just to let you know. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Well, I'm on a bluff.
I was wondering if it was going to get warm enough so I could wash my car because it got dirty last week. So if it hits,
you guys are fine.
Yeah,
we're going to be
Sweet.
38.
Yeah, we got 50s
10.
and 60s all week out here.
Yeah.
Yeah, lucky for you guys.
The water is still very cold coming out of the hose. And so if it's like 55, that's cold water. Yeah, even then.
Well,
but yeah, go ahead.
There is that. But it's never as cold as my ex-wife's heart, which is always a good thing. That water's
Nicely done.
Yeah, thank you very much, gentlemen. All right, with this diesel situation, the problem is that it's an oily base, and when it gets through the fuel pump, that's already gumming everything up. But when it gets inside the cylinders through the injectors, the glow plug that works in the diesel is kind of like a match. It just kind of goes, oh, hi, here's some fire. A spark plug is like an arc welder, and it sets off a big boom. You're going to blow head gaskets. You're going to blow cylinders from compression issues. Every one of those cars is going to be looking at least 3,000 to 4,000 in repairs, if not complete engine replacements. Somebody's going to have to find liability insurance somewhere to sit there and make this happen, because when they put the gas in the tanks and everything, Jeff, they use couplers, so you wouldn't smell it, per se.
Oh,
But
yeah,
if it's
because we
coming
brought
out
that
of
up
the
on
nozzle-
Friday. Why? But the guys that loaded up in the big trucks couldn't smell the difference, though. It's amazing to me that there were so many levels of failure. Like, you had the initial guy that loaded it up. No one tested it, apparently. Then everybody went and filled up their big tanks, and no one noticed. It's amazing.
Well, you're around the farm. There are certain smells that you've gotten used to that unless it changes, you don't notice. The guys that run around fuel all the time, they couldn't tell you anything different after a while because their nose is just so overloaded with it. They're just like, well, it could be this, could be that.
Oh, you get nose blind. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. Unless it's the ex-wife where you go, yeah, she's coming. Anyway, this whole thing is going to be a neat thing to
That's
see.
really what it is.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, that's Satan. That's the mother-in-law that's going to be coming around, and it is sulfur to the diesel, which they've taken most of it out. That does a lot more damage. Now, what you need to use something for stiction, because all the little injectors and everything, they get gummy, and you have to use this special material that you buy. It's like a quart. You pour it in, and it keeps everything flowing nice and smooth. I have the diesel now, and I'm really getting to enjoy driving it, but God, are they loud. But, I think the liability insurance from the tank that's providing all the fuel for everybody, they're ground zero as far as repairs and everything. Don't you think, Jeff?
You would think so, but what does it say about the state of America that this will happen? Millions of dollars will be spent, and no one will probably be fired.
Yeah. Everybody keep their jobs.
Well, what do you think? I mean, it's right now, if you have a job, you're doing everything to keep it. And if you're trying to get a job, you're sitting there saying that you're part of the giant mosaic of everything in life. So you can sit there and say, see, I'm just not like everyone else. I'm special. I did that. Now I'm driving a small bus. Gentlemen, it's Monday. Have a great day.
Hey, thanks. Have a good one, Dwayne.
Always a lot of fun to hear from you.
Yeah.
All right. Do you hear about these sonic weapons that were used? Did you read this description?
Yeah, and we're not talking about Ogilvy. I'm sorry, I have to. That's the name of Sonic the Hedgehog because I'm a nerd.
Ogilvy?
Yes, Ogilvy is his given name. I know,
bro.
That
movie's been on in my house nonstop.
Yeah.
The one with Jim Carrey?
Yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog.
My kids were like right at the perfect age that hit.
Oh, yeah. Sonic the Hedgehog's first name is
I
Ogilvy.
did not. Ogilvy.
I know.
Whoa.
The dumb, stupid
There
thing.
you
And
go.
again, there are much more valuable pieces of information that I could use in my life. Nope. That file is still stuck on the desktop. Can't do anything about it. Still there.
So Caroline Levitt retweeted this interview with a soldier that was in the battle with U.S. forces to try to defend Maduro. And it's pretty wild. So they're kind of standing around. He writes, we were on guard, but suddenly all of our radar systems shut down without any explanation. The next thing we saw were drones, lots of drones flying over our positions. We didn't know how to react. The witness then described watching roughly 20 U.S. soldiers deploy out of 8 helicopters over the base. They were technologically very advanced. They didn't look like anything we fought before. We were hundreds, but we had no chance. They were shooting with such precision and speed, it felt like each soldier was firing 300 rounds a minute. The witness then describes the U.S. deploying some sort of sonic weapon against Venezuela forces. At one point, he said, they launched something. I don't know how to describe it. It was like a very intense sound wave. Suddenly, I felt like my head was exploding from the inside. We all started bleeding from the nose. Some were vomiting. We fell to the ground, unable to move. We couldn't even stand up after the sonic weapon or whatever it was. Whoa, bro. What did you think when you saw that?
Well, we've been working towards things like that, and so have everybody else, for quite a while. I thought those people that are a Stranger Things fan, it was kind of a neat callback that quickly after the ending of it, because they do sonic weapons inside of Stranger Things, if you've been watching that one. I thought it was interesting. I'm curious about the veracity of this interview and report. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm just curious about the interview. I just haven't been able to backtrace it. I've seen the stuff that's been posted by the White House and in other places, but I haven't been able to backtrace the source. And so I'm curious, only because the description that is given there is absolutely wonderful, but it also sounds like the description out of some sort of an assault montage out of a Mission Impossible movie. So there's something there that, was it as cinematic as this interviewer is portraying it or not? I do think that we have been and working on sonic weapons, and it makes a lot of sense because you're just turning on sound waves. You're not actually firing anything, and the sound waves give you the same advantage that back in the day things like deploying gas did, where it is a large scale sort of a weapon that, again, they do have some that are hyper focused. They do have some smaller ones, but this is normally a large field scale weapon is what they're looking at, going after large numbers of people. And the advantages with the disadvantage with the gas is that the wind can blow back on you. This is different. This takes away that type of a danger. The question I'm also curious about is, what methods have we been working on to counteract this? Because we know that our enemies have been working on this, and you referenced the issue in Havana when we were off air this morning.
Havana syndrome.
Yep, and the Havana syndrome, which if people don't remember, that was where U.S. employees, diplomats, and the like down in Cuba were getting really weird headaches and coming down with these really weird symptoms, and nobody could figure out why, but it was all concentrated to working in this one particular area and building. And they're thinking it's microwaves or something, but someone was testing some sort of waves to see how long it would take for it to disrupt you. In fact, okay, you want to do a little conspiracy theory today?
Yeah, please.
On this
we
stuff?
always love a good conspiracy theory.
Okay, here we go.
It never harms the station.
No, not at all. No. Here's a really good conspiracy theory. There is a conspiracy theory in the NFL about why the 49ers.
Yes, I saw this.
Seem to have more knee and ACL, like knee and ankle injuries than anybody else, and it has to do with the energy substation that is right across the street from their practice facility and the stadium. And the issue being, someone had tested the level of electromagnetic waves, and the ambient electromagnetic waves in the practice facility and at the stadium are far beyond what is recommended for an average human. And what the theory is, the conspiracy theory is, for whatever reason, the 49ers suffer more knee and ankle ligament damage than any other team in the NFL by a lot. And when you bring in and you look at people that come in and play inside of the 49ers stadium, they don't see an equal rise in injuries, meaning that if it was surface or something going on inside the stadium, you would assume both teams would be impacted. But you don't see the same increase in those types of injuries for the visiting team inside of San Francisco. And one of the working theories is the constant exposure to the electromagnetic waves messes up the strength in the tendons and ligaments in the knees and the ankles, making them less elastic in some cases or even too loose in others. And so then they snap more often. That's the conspiracy theory. And that would all be electromagnetic waves, not sound waves, but it would be that ambient noise.
The future battle's going to all be with these waves. Well, what was fascinating is that one Caroline Levitt posted this. Right? So
I thought that was fascinating.
This is the official White House press secretary that's retweeting some of this.
If it wasn't Caroline Levitt, I would have just gone, oh, come on, this isn't a real interview. But because it came from her, I had to give it, some measure of credibility and truth. Yeah.
So it comes from her, and then we went back because my kids were fascinated about this when I was telling them. I was like, yeah, they're starting to fight with sound waves, guys. We went back and watched the 60 Minutes, and 60 Minutes has been following this for years and has done updates. So basically anybody in the FBI that has been targeting Russian spies has been hit in America with this type of technology. Yeah. So women that, for instance, that work for the FBI and were at home were hit while they were doing laundry. And it is like permanently incapacitated their ability to work for the FBI anymore. They would just be at home washing dishes or something after work. And then Russian spies would pull up outside their home, fire it through their window, and it would disable them. The same way that the soldier, like it would pierce their ears. It would they couldn't maintain their balance. It's absolutely wild stuff. And then they would capture some of these guys. One guy was in Miami, and police caught him because he was speeding, tried to get away, and they found these devices in his car.
That's crazy.
And he was a Russian spy. Listen to this. This is where it gets really wild. Okay? So he gets caught here in America, spends 30 months in jail for eluding.
Yeah.
Okay? Gets interviewed over and over and over again by the FBI. Okay? They warn him not to go back to Russia. He flees back to Russia.
Oh.
Dies on the Ukraine front.
Of course. That's odd. How that he got the guy got captured and they lost their spy stuff. Of course he disappears. Yeah. No, you don't go
So
home.
now apparently the United States knows this, and my daughter was reminding me, because she's in history class in high school, that when they first started using nukes, nobody knew what they were because it was all classified stuff. So you were hearing stories about these massive bombs, right? And then all of a sudden now we know what they were, but the general public didn't know that.
No, not at all.
Right or wrong. So now you're getting stories of these sonic weapons. So the question is, how do you combat them?
Yeah, I mean, one is obviously depends on how it is, but
earplugs?
If it's earplugs, that's probably the first one, and especially
but it seems like it can go through.
Yeah, it depends on what they're using. Yeah, and that's why I think they're looking at the microwaves, because if it's sonic, that's normally ear, so it'd be a disruption in your ear mechanism and things there. But if you're looking at microwaves, and earplugs don't matter at all, that's a totally different type of radio wave that goes through you.
Unbelievable, wild. And it's so cool. There's going to be movies. Really cool. It'll be like Zero Dark 30 is one of my favorite movies. Can't wait to see the one on this one.
Yeah, and it will change the form of combat immeasurably.
Yeah.
Because you're no longer looking at that rank and file, hey, I have to shoot the other guy. When you just turn on, you just flip the switch and it goes, woo, 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 woo. Yeah, exactly.
Bill Thorpe with the woo, woo, woo,
I know. I can do all sorts of
Good morning, Denver to Colorado. All right, we've got You Choose the News coming up. Plus, we're going to talk the Minnesota ice shooting update. Interesting opinion piece in Fox News over the weekend. We having problems with diluted wine moms at this point, impeding federal law enforcement. It's not just protest anymore. It's a crime. We'll get into that in the 7 o'clock hour. Michael Allen joining us in the 8 o'clock hour. Plus, Trump trying to shake things up in the housing market. Lots to talk about. You've been listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710, KNUS.
Monday morning, Billy. They've all been waiting for it. They need it to get going. Bill Thorpe's You Choose the News.
Yes, it's time to play America's favorite fake radio news game show. It's You Choose the News. Yeah, boy, do we have some good ones for you on this Monday morning. You know how it works. Scouring interwebs, finding really stupid stories about us humans, giving them even more ridiculous headlines so that we can play this fake radio news game show because those in charge are not awake at this hour, so we will take full advantage of being left unsupervised. Okay, and also, Blake Olson joins us from the news department. Jeff is in the studio. Gentlemen, here are today's stories. Headline number 1, gee whiz. Headline number 2, they're listening. Headline number 3, launching a controversy. And headline number 4, to honor and obey. Mr. Hunt, your choice.
To honor and obey, please.
Yes, to honor and obey. A Dutch couple recently has had their marriage annulled because the person officiating the ceremony used ChatGPT to generate their speech. It was intended to be playful, but it failed to meet the legal requirements of a marriage for that nation. Now, the pair were in the city of Zool. Names redacted because it's a little bit of embarrassing. This happened just about a week and a half ago. They argued they intended to marry regardless of whether it was the right wording or what was there, and it shouldn't impact their vows. But the court says, no, you're not really married because you did not have the actual legal language that would be needed under Dutch law. Now, what was the issue? Well, according to the decision, the person officiating their ceremony asked whether or not they would continue to support each other, teasing each other, embracing each other, even when life gets difficult. The pair said, I do, and then the officiant said, I declare you not only husband and wife, but above all else, a team, a crazy couple, and each other's love and home base. Well, the judge found they didn't actually swear to fulfill their marriage duties, and that's required by Dutch law. So they're not married because they were trying to be cute with
Classic.
the AI. Yeah.
Classic.
I know.
I've learned that AI not good for legal advice at
no,
all.
not good.
Because I
No.
submitted decisions that were made by Supreme Courts and stuff and be like, please analyze and give me an overview.
Yeah.
And it was the exact opposite of what they said.
And remember, Kim Kardashian used AI to help her study for tests and things like that, and she didn't pass the bar. So, yeah, that's great. And she was surprised. But then again, how would she know? All the psychics she talked to told her she was going to pass the bar. So why? This is just, there's so many things here. Okay, now, Blake, gee whiz, they're listening or launching a controversy.
Let's go with gee whiz.
Gee whiz. Yeah, now, hey, if you're looking for a real conversation starter for your man cave or back at home, you might be able to get your hands on an incredible bit of memorabilia from the Buffalo Bills. Yes, the Broncos' opponent next week, the guys that are coming into town, well, they also are tearing down their big giant stadium. And that means there are going to be a lot of collectibles available from that stadium. One of the most in demand could possibly be the urinal troughs from the men's rooms. Yep. You can actually purchase the Highmark Stadium urinal troughs from Brandon Steiner of Collectible Exchange. He says he's got a whole bunch of different collectibles that are going to be available from the stadium. And one of the things are...
It's used.
Again, it's part of the story. He said there's some interesting stuff in the suites. They've got some great photos. There's things in the locker room, kind of quirky one-offs, that kind of thing. But the bathroom troughs, those are beloved by Bills fans. And the new stadium right across the street will not have the troughs in the men's room, so they do not need them.
Whatever happened to the Broncos troughs?
I have no idea. I don't know. But you could at the time, just like with the Broncos, you could purchase the single stadium seats. You could purchase a pair of seats. You could purchase bleacher seats. There are pieces of the turf you can purchase. Just so we know, I have an uncle that purchased a 1 foot by 1 foot square of the Lambeau Field turf when they replaced it. That is still in his freezer. Mm-hmm. And we have the seats we have the seats from Mile High Stadium. We have two of the seats from our seats in Mile High Stadium. We bought those.
So is my brother. Same thing. And does he have Arena also.
But does he have a urinal trough?
No.
I'm just saying.
No.
That's a conversation.
I guess the Broncos auctioned them off as well. Jeez. So somebody out there owns them from 2002.
What you
Someone
do is
does.
you go and you buy one and you make it a planter in your front yard and you paint it Broncos on the side. Now that's a conversation starter.
Use them as livestock feeders.
There we go. All right, Jeff, final choice this morning. They're listening or launching a controversy?
They're listening.
Yes, they're listening. This is a remarkable study that was just recently released by all of us science hippies. Are your dogs eavesdropping on you? The scientists say, yeah, they are. Now, your dog is great at learning commands like sit and stay. They're less good at remembering names of things, but some dogs actually eavesdrop on you. Here's the cool thing. Now, scientists have identified about 50 really, really smart dogs around the world. These are dogs that are able to identify more than 100 different objects and go and remember them and a whole bunch of commands. They're super learners. Well, they grabbed a group of these dogs to see if they could identify a toy without actually being told about the toy. Here's the example. Jeff and I have my dog, Aria, in the room with us. I'm holding the toy, and I tell Jeff, look at Mr. Floppy here. This is the new toy. This is Mr. Floppy. I go and put Mr. Floppy in the other room, and then tell Aria, go find Mr. Floppy. Out of a group of toys, 7 out of the 10 dogs were able to identify the item without being told about the item. Here's where it gets really, really crazy. Most of these dogs were able to identify the item if I held it in my hand, then put it inside of a box, close the lid on the box, and said, in there is Mr. Floppy. Then I take it into the next room, take out Mr. Floppy, put it in with a group of toys, ask the dog to go get Mr. Floppy.
No
the
way.
dogs
Still
identified it. Still were able to do it. Now, the reason this is mind-blowing is they've only seen parrots and apes behave this way and demonstrate this type of idea of object permanence, but also being able to connect an object with a name without being told directly. That's what they connect. This is mind-blowing. Your dog might be smarter than you think.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it.
Might be smarter than the Jeff and Bill show.
Absolutely. That's the end of your Choosing News. Back to you,
Bill
sir.
Thorpe, fantastic. Iggy texting in that the Jeff and Bill song is a sonic weapon.
Yes, it is, and you're welcome.
All right, we'll continue. We're going to give you the latest on the Minnesota ice shooting. You're listening to the Jeff and Bill show.
This is 710 KNUS. We'll be right